Rock this world!
You just finished up race season. Tell me some of the things you did, some of the hurdles or accomplishments.
So they have this new trail race series called El Oso Loco that it starts in June. It's shorter distances on local trails, Right Hand Fork, Jardine, Juniper, River Trail, the basics. They're every Wednesday evening. And they've just started this. I think it's maybe 3 or 4 years. So I usually start that just to get used to getting back on the trails in June. It's just a really fun local group ran by the Logan Trail Alliance, and the money that your registration fees go back to the community in a lot of good ways. So I usually start out with that in June, and the distance is anywhere from 8 to 10 miles. My bigger races, my longer ultra races usually start in August. This year I did El Vaquero Loco, my 5th year doing that, and that's in Wyoming. It's my most favorite race because it's beautiful, but it's also very grueling. And no matter how confident you go into that race, you're going to finish that race just feeling like shit. Like you're just going to be like, okay, I don't even know why I decided to run this, but I love it. This being my 5th year, I got my buckle, ultra running is so funny because you work really hard for some really dumb prizes, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I signed up, paid money, ran it for 5 years, and I got this belt buckle that I'll probably never wear. I don't know. You have to love it or you're not going to do it.
So you're talking about like these grueling races and just the whole difficulty, and you get a belt buckle out of it. And so, out of all the different like running disciplines, because there's like 100-meter dash, there's 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, full marathons. What keeps you coming back to the ultra marathons?
Well, I was never good at short distances. I ran cross country in high school and I was back of the pack always. Not to say I'm not still there, but I've found that I'm built for endurance. The longer I'm out there, the more I can gain advantage. I am not into quick, get it over with, crazy heart rate. I'm just more of a chill person that way.
And just to kind of set the picture, what does an ultra marathon entail? Like, how long is it? How long does it take, at least for you, usually to run? Because it is a lot. And I don't know if people actually know just how much it is. So,
well, an ultra run marathon or race is anything that's going to be longer than a marathon. Generally, it starts out as a 50K, which is about 32 miles. So that's kind of where you start. Really, as far as time, it's going to depend on your elevation and your technical part of the race. It's so hard to say. El Vaquero Loco, which is a 50K, you're gaining and losing 10,000 feet in that distance. And you're getting up there at 11, 12,000 feet in elevation where, the oxygen's a little thin. You're not getting that good deep breaths. In the 5 years that I ran it in 8 hours all the way up to 12 hours. So, that's the span of even just me personally. So there's a lot of things to contend with there. In Utah, we're able to get a lot of high elevation. If you're going to Florida, it's not going to happen. So it depends on location.
I'm kind of curious, do you go all around the country for these, or do you mostly stick to like the Utah, Wyoming area?
I prefer the Northwest for the most part. I've done Oregon, Washington. I ran my first 50-miler at Orcas Island, Southern Utah, Wyoming, California. So I've been generally the West. I'm not against doing. It would be a different game for me. The humidity and the different weather. That's something that hopefully I can do in the future because I'm sure that there's so many things to be seen out there.
Your next challenge, now that you've conquered everything like in Utah or Wyoming or whatever.
Well, thank you for being generous. I wouldn't go that far.
What's the hardest part of an ultra marathon, like emotionally especially? We know definitely that it is a physically grueling thing. What do you have to contend with emotionally within that as well?
As someone who has a lot of anxiety, I think leading up to the race, it's a constant battle to calm myself down and to try to get sleep and to eat in the days before. As far as during a race, I think mentally and emotionally, you need to accept that things are going to go wrong. I think that's part of ultra running. I don't think that there's anyone who consistently ultra runs that's going to tell you that you can make a plan and it's going to go that way. It's just not how it works. You're either going to deal with weather, or your crew won't be on time, or you're going to get sick. You're going to deal with some sort of a thing that you're like, great, that never happened in my training runs. So I think that you just need to really be able to roll with the punches. You need to have a plan B and a C. And if you don't have that plan, you just need to go with it and do the best you can.
You mentioned a crew in there. What does a crew do? How do you get one? What role do they play?
For the most part, you're only going to have a crew for the 100-mile distance and longer. You may have people to come to support you on a 50K or a 50-miler, but you're not going to have crew access along the route where people can come and bring you your favorite food or a change of socks, whatever that may be. For a 100-mile distance, a crew there's people who don't do it, and I admire them. But for me, it's really nice to know that at certain points along the course, there's going to be a vehicle that's going to pull up with a cold Red Bull or a change of socks or whatever that may be that just kind of brings me out of it. At the Bear 100, it's kind of a lottery where certain bib numbers get crew at certain spots. So you kind of have to plan for that. Crew could just be someone in a van that's meeting you at different spots, or it could be pacers as well. Both are great.
So a pacer, that's someone who actually is like running alongside you, helping you keep your pace through segments of the race, right?
Right.
That's wild. And are they generally like also like, are they actually running as well, or they're just there for that section?
It's different for everybody. You can choose how long you want them to be with you. You can't have them the whole time. At the
Gotcha.
Bear, which is our local race here, about after mile 45, it varies between 37 and 45. You can have pacers. At the beginning of a race, no go. There's too many people on the trail. It would just be a mess. But after that point, and also if it starts getting dark, it's nice to have somebody out there who's going to say, okay, they're going to be looking for the tags to make sure you're on course, because when you're 50, 60 miles in and you miss a checked spot, you're going to cry. Yeah, pacers are great, and you can have different ones. You could have the same one. Everybody chooses different.
I'm kind of curious how you prevent injuries, and also what happens when you do get an injury.
I've been really lucky that I haven't had to deal with a lot, but I think the biggest thing you can do, this isn't just for injuries, but to have longevity as an ultra runner, you need to be able to listen to your body and to be open to saying, okay, well, I thought that I was going to do this many miles this week, but I'm actually feeling a little something different. Maybe, my hip's hurting a little bit. And to be able to say, okay, do I really need to push it that hard, knowing that I could be injured, or can I just kind of take that time and not? I think it's really important to listen to your body and not just, print out a plan that you think that is going to just be rigid. You got to be able to kind of balance those things and to be able to listen to yourself and to say, I don't really need that.
Have you ever been in a situation where in the course of listening to your body, you've had to like push back a goal, or heaven forbid, even like cancel a race because of that?
This year, it was really heartbreaking. I did El Vaquero at the beginning of August. And from that point, I was set to do White Pine 50 miler. And I think it was a week after El Vaquero, I met up with my friend who had also ran El Vaquero with me and who was also signed up for White Pine. And we did just a normal trail run up Jardine Juniper and felt fine during the run. And then went home and I just kept having pain in my adductor. And I was like, that's so weird, but I'm sure by tomorrow it'll be fine. It didn't. I had pain even while walking my dogs. I got massages. I did everything that I read I was supposed to do. And I waited until the day before White Pine, just hoping for some miracle. And then I finally just had to email the race director and say, hey, not going to happen for me this year. It was heartbreaking. I had put in the time. I had put in the effort. It was actually the race I was looking most forward to. And it broke my heart because I even had a friend, my best friend was flying in from Texas to crew for me just for that race. I felt like I was disappointing everyone, mostly myself, but it's just the way it is. When your body says no, you'd be stupid to go out there and hobble around for 13 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. That sounds very rough. You talk about the massages you're doing, the other therapies. Do you still try and do some sort of not complete rest, but like you're actually still moving? Is there something you're doing to just kind of, I guess, keep from getting sedentary without like aggravating any injuries? What do you do there?
I really pay attention to myself, but also, I mean, as far as getting sedentary, and I've kind of set myself up for this as a crutch, but I have two puppies that are very high energy puppies. They're about 4 years old right now. There's only so many days that I can go with saying I'm resting before those puppies start like looking at me like, Mom, honestly, get up. And, after that injury this year, I had to scale it back to just hiking. But I still got out on the trails for the same distance. It took me longer because I was going slower, but I would still get out there on the trails and let my puppies run around. So I think that I have in my ultra running career kind of made it so that there's things in my life that kind of don't let me rest too much.
I was gonna ask, if there's like a motivation is sometimes the hardest part of everything. And I was
Hmm.
gonna ask if you have a philosophy or like a quote or a mindset that helps anchor you. But dogs is a very good one. Like that is actually a brilliant idea. I don't know if you planned it that way, but brilliant.
I got my first two dogs not planning that, and this was maybe 20 years ago, and just realized that we all got along better if they were worn out. When they passed away a few years ago, and I started looking for new dogs, when I called the shelter, I said, "Tell me about your high energy dogs." She's like, "Oh, great. We'd love to give you this crazy dog that we have." And I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So I do plan it in a way.
You were talking about this heartbreak from not being able to do the white pine, and that brings up a really good segue to like burnout, because a lot of athletes, they stake so much of their identity and their life really in like a basketball career or a bunch of marathons or things of that nature, and it does make it really harder, I should say, when things do go wrong or when there are injuries or when you have to cancel something. And I'm kind of curious how you kind of balance aspects of your life.
I think that you really have to keep in perspective that you're doing this to enjoy yourself. And if you're not out there with some purpose other than to knock a race off your list or to accomplish some goal that you have and you're not out there enjoying it, you're going to get burned out fast and you're going to probably get injured as well. And you won't have as much fun. There's been a lot of research about, even just smiling while you're running and how that improves your physical performance. There's times in my career where I have gotten that bug where I'm like, hey, what if I just really step it up and see like how intense I can get and how good I can get? And it's always kind of made me, it's kind of taken away from the fun and the enjoyment that I have doing it. And so even this summer, I went through that and I kind of sat with myself for a while and I had to think, why do I actually do this in the first place? And it's because I love being in our mountains. We are so blessed with these amazing places. And I'm not doing it to get a belt buckle or whatever. There's a thing in all of us that wants to push the limits and to just go out there and grind. But if you're not enjoying it and you're not taking the benefits from it, you're going to make yourself miserable mentally and physically.
Do you do this purely for fun? Are you ever like sponsored? Is there any kind of like career aspect to this, or do you have like a day job and this is just stuff you're doing in your own time? I'm kind of curious how that all is working.
I don't do sponsorship or anything. I have been really blessed with certain companies sending me things from time to time, which is great because don't let anyone tell you that it's not expensive to ultra run. I think the Bear 100 to register is over $400 now. And that's
Wow.
just, I mean, that's not the time and effort that you put into going places and the shoes and all the other things that you're going to need. So I do it for enjoyment, but honestly, for me, it's my mental health crutch. It's my sanity. We live in crazy times, and I think we all sometimes just feel like overloaded. And when I can disconnect and go up in the mountains with my dogs and focus on my breath and look at how beautiful different things are, it's that for me. I know that, It's not necessarily why I started running, but it's why I keep running. It keeps me grounded.
You know, we're all getting older. I'm an old man now these days.
Stop it.
I'm kind of curious how your relationship with running and maybe even just your relationship with your body has changed as you've aged. Like what's changing in your habits, your prep, things of that nature.
I think, there's ups and downs to aging. You obviously have had time to learn about your body and what works and doesn't work for it. But also the potential for injury is greater and you need to be a little more gentle with yourself. But I think you also, as you age, you kind of allow yourself to relax a little more. As far as for me, I think I was a lot more anxious runner when I was younger. I've actually, as I've gotten older, I feel that after races, I can heal better after. Like it doesn't take me as long because I've really learned how to feel my own pace. Having said that, there's also, and I think that this might just be something that they need to study more, is particularly for women, we peak later than men in our athletic abilities, especially in ultra running. Your best ultra runners aren't in their 20s, they're in their 30s. Obviously, we need to learn more about that as time goes on. I just think that if you know yourself and keep a good perspective, age doesn't have to be a limiting factor.
You were talking about anxiety earlier. How do you handle that or how do you keep it in check?
I'm not going to say I have a perfect system for that. It's going to happen. There's times I think you have to find a boundary between allowing your anxiety to over prepare and allowing yourself to say, I've put in the work and I can't control everything that's going to happen during this race. There's going to be surprises, but I feel confident that I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can and try to have fun. There's times when you don't sleep much before a race, and then there's times when you can get sleep. And that's just, I think, part of the ultra running experience is learning to go with that. And, I have my ultra running friends, the same thing. Sometimes we'll meet up before a race and one of us will be like, I didn't sleep at all. And then, that's just how it is. Everybody's going to have their different things. I don't have a set thing I do other than I just really try to make sure I have all my stuff ready. I've squared away who's going to be there, what time I need to be there, and then I just have to let it go.
Do you do anything like meditation or yoga? Do you find that helps for, high feelings?
I do. Not as much as I should, but it absolutely helps. Just finding that little quiet space in yourself to kind of just come back to reality and not be so focused on the race and what will happen or what could happen.
So you mentioned women peak later than men in racing and running. I'm kind of curious, like what other barriers or differences, issues that women face that maybe don't get as much attention as they should?
As longer distances are starting to get more acceptable, I mean, they have races out there that are 200, 250 miles. As those things continue, as the lengths continue to grow, they have found that the gap between the men and women starts to close a little more. Women are incredibly good at endurance. Nothing against men. And of course, more studies need to be done because these 200, 300-mile races have only been happening for, the last 5 to 10 years. But it's not unheard of for the women to win by a few hours, just outright. And that's exciting. I think that's says a lot. Women tend to have more fat reserves. That can be beneficial in a ultra race. And this is maybe uncomfortable, but I think we have to give women grace in that, we're all on a hormonal, a different plane at any given time. And I do know that I've heard a lot of women say that those things can complicate. You have a plan for a race. It's at a certain time. There's things that you can't plan and that are going to happen. And that can really be hard, especially when you're in the mountains for extended periods of time without a lot of supplies. You've got to be really good at just going with the punches, dealing with it and carrying on. And so I have a lot of admiration for women who have to compete during difficult times. And they still go out and do it. They're amazing.
So speaking of like these hormonal differences, I assume that also would impact training. So are training structures vastly different between like men and women, or how does that look?
I mean, not really. They don't really do that. As far as being a woman, we've learned to just I mean, we just deal with it. I'm 46. I've had a few years to deal with it. So it's one of those things with ultra running that things aren't going to go exactly how you plan. So you just learn to deal. And I do think that the more you're able to do that, the better you're going to be at this particular sport. It's not going to be smooth sailing.
Are there any other ways that athletics tend to differ between men and women? Like gear, I assume gear is a big one. I'm kind of curious how those are different and how important it is that they are different.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of my favorite gear pieces, especially for long races and throughout the night, if you're running in the evening when it's dark, I have to have my pack, it's got my gloves, my headlamp, any fuel or whatnot. And as far as men and women, I mean, I'm 5'6", and I'm not going to be able to use a pack that somebody who is 6 foot and taller. I mean, that's going to just be awkward. So I feel like everything needs to be, developed for a different body type. I mean, shoes also, women tend to have narrower feet. And it differs from individual to individual too, but I do appreciate that, as we progress, they have been doing packs. That's what I noticed the most, that are more designed for women, so that I don't have some floppy thing that's going to give me chafing on part of my body because it doesn't fit right.
So my follow-up question is, are companies actually building the things women need, or is that something that the industry could do better on?
There's always room for growth, but in the, 10, 15 years that I've been running, I have definitely noticed that they are putting the effort into that. Previously, when I first started, it was kind of just one size fits all, and that was discouraging. But I have noticed that they've gotten a lot better in the past few years, and that's probably because there's more of a market for it. I look forward to seeing how it gets better, because it seems like they're paying more attention. With the amount of money I spend on gear, I think that there's a market for it. I think that they're good to go in that direction.
Wonderful. I hope they do. What does your training look like, especially in terms of tracking, are there metrics or measurements you track or goals you try to hit? I feel like I remember you once telling me you don't really look at your pace or anything. I'm just kind of curious if that's still true, or if you use like GPS or heart rate monitors or anything of that nature.
No, and a professional or a trainer, if they listen to this, they'd shame me. But I like to keep track of like how many miles I did and how long I'm on my feet. But I don't look at my splits. And I think that is part of me trying to remember why I'm out there. It's to have fun. It's not to hit some astronomical, and if you print out training plans, they are really specific. And that's never been the way that I've been at doing things. When it comes to training, if I'm running 100-miler in the fall, I will simply sign up for races that get consecutively longer up to that point. And that's my training plan. Is I'll say, okay, I have a 50K. Let's just train for that. And then when that's over, okay, I have a 50-miler. Let's just train for that. And then if I can, finish a 50-miler and feel good about it, then I have some more training runs, but I feel confident going into a 100-miler. That is not probably how a professional trainer would tell you to do it, but that's how I have learned it works for me.
You talk about you're incrementally increasing your runs. Do you have rest days baked into your training plans, or is that more of a just touch and feel how it's going kind of thing?
I love how you say training plan, because anybody who has ever ran with me or crewed for me is she doesn't have a plan. So for the most part, I really just listen to my body. If I feel good, I'm going to be out there. If I feel like I need a day, I'm going to take a day. There's no schedule of mine that is, oh, I have to do this. It's just, I've never been that type of person, which it's good and bad. That's just my personality. Some people do better with really regimented things. I kind of admire those people. I kind of wish I could be more like that, but I'm not. So I kind of wing it in a lot of ways. I think just find what works for you. If it works for you, go with it.
So you mentioned earlier in the podcast how at the beginning of the race, there's all these people. And so you can't have pacers or any of these other people on the trail. And that actually highlights a potential issue. I'm kind of curious, what kind of impact do all these people running through the wilderness have on the environment, or if there are any environmental impact concerns?
The thing I love about trail running in particular is that the people that are running out there on the trails love the trails. They love the environment. That's why they're out there. There's a camaraderie and a respect to the environment that you're not cutting trails, you're not leaving trash, you're minimal impact on whatever. I think that it's just ingrained in most trail runners to have that respect, but also it's a very well known in any race that you sign up for. There is a full list of things that if you get caught doing this or that, you're out for good. You will not be permitted to do that race again. Having said that, yeah, there's going to be, particularly if it's a muddy race, things can get sloppy and it happens. And I think that you just need to do the best you can. And I think the people do. There's very much support along the way with people trying to help each other, but help lessen the impact on the environment. But also, like I said, these races care about the environment. When you sign up for the Bear 100, you pay your entry fee, and you're also required to do 8 hours of trail work. In whatever way that is. The Bear 100 will schedule trail work opportunities up into the season. But if you don't sign off on those 8 hours of trail work, you're not going to run the race. I mean, it's definitely a circle of giving back and, maintaining that. The also trail race series that they have started here that's ran by the Logan Trail Alliance has done so much work on the trails, putting up new bridges, installing bells at different trailheads for people to carry along. We as trail runners and race organizers, we're not out there for a one and done, have fun, make a mess.
I did not know that races did like scheduled trail maintenance for you. That's really cool. I'm kind of curious, how is climate change impacting trail running and ultramarathons?
It's definitely a real thing. As someone who has ran in this valley since I was a child, my parents were very big into it. And I've noticed a lot. It might seem small in some ways, like in the spring, there'll be certain spots along trails that I know that I should be able to get water. And as years have gone by, it gets lower and lower. Like I can't get those stream crossings in higher elevations, they dry up faster. And I've noticed from year to year, me having to readjust my planning with what water I take or what my dogs need as you watch the trails become drier and drier. And it's kind of sad. It is sad. And, I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to get out here and try to tell someone that they're doing something wrong. But it is reality. If you are aware and you pay attention to the trails throughout the, years, you will know that it is happening. And kind of makes me scared to see what's going to happen in the future, although I am hopeful. But I think that we just need to do the best we can to be aware of that and do our part. Try to remember that we are not just here to consume. It's a cycle, it's a circle. You need to give back. You need to, in whatever way you can. Don't use so much water or any given thing. Try to be respectful, and in the areas where we still do have those pristine places, don't leave your trash. Be appreciative of what we have because it may not be here forever.
I agree 100%. I think that is a wonderful note to close on. It's a call to action, but also very hopeful, I think, especially if we actually follow through and do that. Did you have anything you'd like to add in closing?
I think a lot of people don't realize the immense beauty that we have in Logan. The unique thing about Cache Valley is you can still go to a trail and you can not run into another person. Down south in Salt Lake, most trails, or even just to get up the canyon, you have to pay a fee and it's going to be super crowded. Cache Valley is one of the few rare spots that we have these amazing places that we can go that are not overrun. We don't have to pay a lot of money. These are public lands. And just to realize and recognize what we have here. In the spring, when I'm running it in the wildflowers, I just am so grateful to be living here and to have access to these amazing trails. And I hope that more people get out and enjoy them, because the more people that get out and enjoy them, the more you'll want to protect and respect them. I hope that more people can get out. We are really lucky to live here.
One of the reasons I still live in Cache Valley and Logan, and especially even like in the actual neighborhood and place I am, is because I can literally walk out my door and run east, and within like 15, 20 minutes, I'm running in the canyon. And I have a trail almost the entire way, or at least a sidewalk with a nice view. And then, you go 5 or 10 minutes walking the other way west and you're in downtown. And it's an amazingly beautiful place. It's an amazingly accessible place. It's definitely not something that should be taken for granted. I agree. Well, Tara, thank you so much for this conversation. I had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I hope you have a wonderful night.
You too. Thanks, Casey.
Did you enjoy this video? Hit like on YouTube or rate the podcast 5 stars on Spotify if you did. And share it if you think it could help others. Please also subscribe, check out my other videos, even if it's just as white noise, or support the channel via buymeacoffee.com/rockmarketingllc. I love learning, talking with people, and sharing ideas that can benefit anyone who listens. Your support helps me keep creating and covering the costs that go into making this content. Please drop any questions in the comment section and suggest yourself as a guest if you have a topic you're passionate about. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.